the lobbyists in our government make sure they get the money first, and they make all the money. They use that money to create more slavery, like the Black Ops operation you're about to tell us about with the CIA and the drugs being brought in. Right. But they bring the drugs in, and then they can arrest anybody that uses it, and they have a whole industry of the judicial system, the criminal system they call it. They make money off of crime.
When we go over, when we take along, when we go on, I'm hearing your conversation break up. I'm just hearing little bits and pieces again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this to go right. Hold on.
Well, having been a talk show host, bear with him, because that's what comes in doing show and not having the best of equipment.
It looks like we might have a little bit of feedback to keep you on air, but you sound good on this side. You'll just hear a little bit of echo in your ear. It sounds great on this end, though. I promise you.
BC wouldn't take him. CBS wouldn't take him. I said, I'll take him. I'll take him now. So I had Bo on, and we were talking about just what was being done as far as the drug traffic is concerned, because he went into Shanland hoping to find prisoners of war and bring those prisoners of war back into the United States. So he went up on a mule trail up into the mountains, on a foot trail, essentially. But that's the mule trail where they brought down the heroin into Thailand. So he went up and he got into Shanland. In fact, they welcomed him with open arms. He talked to Kun Sa, General Kun Sa, and this is sort of the remnants of the Kuomintang, a Chinese army that had taken up in northern Burma, in what they call the Golden Triangle. They'd hoped to get rid of get away from the Chinese communists who were killing everybody. And by the way, the Chinese communists have killed in excess of 100 million people. That's more than Adolf Hitler ever dreamed of. They've out-Hitler at the height of his hysteria, and yet we see NBC with their announcer talking to make sure that the picture of Mao Zedong is over there to the right behind him. Well, actually, it would be to the left behind him if he's looking in towards the audience. They mass murdered in excess of 100 million people. When we had an Olympics in Germany, in Nazi Germany in 1936, Adolf Hitler was the guy who lit the torch. Now, the torch of Mao Zedong is lit. The people are dying every day. 26,312, I forget how many death camps. You don't have the right in Tiananmen Square to pull out a camera and take a picture. I was warned about that when I was there. There's the big statue of Mao in all his heroics, and you look across the street, there's the big picture of Mao, and that presidential palace or whatever you want to call it, and there's the museum. And about every fourth or fifth person in Tiananmen Square are spies. You do not have anything called freedom in China. And yet by giving China the games that recognizes this murderocracy as a legitimate government. In Tibet, I see these stickers, free Tibet. Hell, they're not going to free Tibet. They're not going to free anybody, anywhere, at any time. There's never going to be a return of any of our prisoners of war, anywhere, at any time.
We know what they mean by free in America. They mean invade. When they say free Tibet, they mean invade Tibet.
Well, I don't know whether they mean that, but the fact is, Tibet has been invaded. The fact is that they have slaughtered nuns and priests. The fact is that you have slave labor in China. And the fact is, Henry Kissinger, we went over there to make arrangements to lift the restrictions against buying communist product, set it up. But the very first ambassador to communist China, you remember who he was? Or maybe you don't.
Maybe I don't.
Out there? Well, I don't think. Maybe you forgot. It's a fellow named George Herbert Walker Bush.
Oh.
Is Magog in the Skull and Bones. That means that's the one who wages war against God in the final days of earth. And his son, George Walker Bush, is named temporary. But yet he's been in office all of this period of time. Would they terminate George Jr. to continue their program of tyranny and torture and taxation? Of course they would.
That's one of the
Will they do
theories.
it? I don't know.
I absolutely agree with you about the Olympics, though, about the Olympics being a complete it's completely disgusting that they're being venerated when they have death camps and their the police state on the people, the prison camps where they harvest the organs and all of this, and during the Olympics you've got Bush and Putin sitting in boxes next to each other, smiling, having a great time. Meanwhile, they're sending war game orders on their BlackBerries. It's completely disgusting. There's people dying all around them, suffering because of them, and they're just being glorified. We were watching a couple of your films before you came on, about the Illuminati and the torch, the symbol of the Olympics. The torch was mentioned as a symbol of the Illuminati.
Well, if you go back in time to when we started this thing called Uncle Sam, and you lay the pattern, or you just put a piece of clear, translucent paper over Uncle Sam, and on the paper above you sketch in the image of the goat of Baphomet, you'll find out that the nipple on the breast of the goat of Baphomet matches up with the cufflink on the shirt, well, that goes beyond the sleeve of the coat. You'll find out that every hair in Baphomet's beard matches the hairs in Uncle Sam. When you do that, you can clearly see that they are one and the same. When you go into a recruiting office, you'll see, I want you to serve. I want you to serve Satan. And George Herbert Walker Bush is the guy that came out and said when he was asked by this fellow named Jordan, and I think it was high school, and Bradenton, Florida. He said, "Well, when did you first